So last month we hit a 75% close rate in the real estate niche. This was a completely new offer, a completely new agency, and the offer was basically AI plus ads combined. And I'm going to run you through exactly what we did in our sales process. One of the biggest levers we pulled to be able to help convert people, and just how you can also apply this in your agency. So what kind of sparked this is I actually had one of my students come to me. He runs an agency in the remodeling niche, and so he talked to a big client, or big prospect, I should say, and they went through everything, and he was like, well, I pitched him, he didn't buy, but I don't think it was the right fit because he had a lot of money coming in off of referrals, and so the extra money from the ads would have been pretty negligible for what he's bringing in yearly. And so we talked a little bit deeper, and I was like, well, you realize a person like that would not be hopping on the call if they didn't see something of value. Right? Did he know you guys run Facebook ads and have AI? Well, yes. So then he clearly saw some sort of value in that, right? And what happened is the reason he didn't convert is not because that money would have been negligible, because you could have put $10,000 into ads and made him a lot more, right? It was because he didn't have certainty when you finished the pitch, right? And when you finished going through everything, he didn't have certainty your solution was the solution for him. So there's a really important concept here. Testing, cool. So there's intent, right, versus certainty, right? And so intent is basically going to be, I'm curious, right? There's something that I want to change. I either want to pursue a solution, I want to solve a problem, whatever that may be. Right? And so this guy had intent, because he's not going to hop on an hour call if he doesn't, know that there's something out there for him, right? But what most people don't have is they don't have complete certainty on what solution they need, right? Because to have complete certainty, you need to check criteria, right? And so they need a criteria to be able to judge this on. And if they don't have a criteria to be able to judge everything on, then how are they going to know what's the right fit for them? And so criteria is generally something that people don't come in with, right? I think this is where a lot of sales coaches and gurus get it wrong. So they're like, well, people know exactly what they're looking for. They have the criteria in their head. You have to ask the right questions to get them sold on your thing, right? But someone could be, we got our little person here, right? And he's just sitting on this little block, and this is his current situation. He might know he wants to go to this goal state way off here in the distance, right? Here it is, right? He's celebrating because he's happy. He hit his goal, right? He might know, in theory, I want to get over there, but he doesn't have clarity on exactly what it looks like to get there. And so there's a lot of uncertainty. That's why he's looking around. He doesn't know. If he knew what he was looking for, he would probably have already bought it, right? But he knows if something doesn't feel fully right or if something doesn't feel fully wrong, right? And so that's why a lot of people are 70% sold. Sounds good. Let me go think about it. And they keep looking, right? Because they don't know exactly what they're looking for. And so the biggest thing we need to do in the sales process is we need to be able to give them more certainty, right? We need to give them certainty on what they're looking for. And so the way you do that is you give them their criteria. When someone takes a look and decides if they want to buy something, they run it through a criteria in their own head, right? But the problem is that a lot of times they don't know if they have the right criteria. So even if it checks the boxes, they're not sure is there something else. And so the way we always approach it when we go through everything is after we explain the unique mechanism, we explain the high level of the process. They're like, this sounds high level interesting. This makes sense, right? Then what we dive into is we lay out the criteria. So we're like, there are three main things you need in any sort of marketing system, right? Whether you do this on your own, you go with someone else, you go with us, whatever that is, there are three boxes that need to be checked. Now, the problem is most agencies and most businesses don't check even one of those, much less two, and I don't think I've barely ever seen anybody check all three, right? And so here's what those are. The first thing is we need reach. Now, important note here, you need two things to pass here. One, it needs to be complex enough they feel like, oh, this is worth hearing about. This is intellectual. It's stimulating, but simple enough that they can understand it. And two, it needs to pass the BS detector, right? You don't want to just tell someone, well, you need AI in your for blank random reason, or else your business is going to die. Boop, BS detector goes off. That's not true, right? I don't need AI for blah, blah, blah. But if you can give them a reason, hey, having AI is important because blah, 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 other businesses are going to adopt it, you're going to have less efficiency if you don't have it, okay, that passes the BS test. That makes sense, right? So we lay out the criteria, and I'll show you how we do that. We're like, so the first thing you need is you need reach, right? You need to be able to get in front of new businesses or new prospects, right? Because if you're not in front of new people, then how are you going to be able to convert new people, right? And so that's the number one thing. You need to be able to get in front of them, and ideally, you're not getting in front of the same exact people your competitors are getting in front of. Because what is that going to cause, Mr. Prospect? Cause saturation. Exactly. Cool. So once we have the reach and we have our people, what's the next thing we need to do? Well, you need to convert them. Exactly, right? So the next step after reach for a good marketing system, conversion. And I probably spelled that wrong, but I don't really care. We need conversion, right? And so to convert someone, what a lot of people do is they just try and throw a bunch of social proof. Right? That's what everybody else is doing. And I want to ask you, who do we trust most? We trust experts, right? And how do we know someone's an expert? Well, they know more than us, and they show that by educating us and giving us more clarity on things that we didn't understand before, right? And so what we're going to do to convert these people is we're going to use education, right? We're going to use education to convert them. Education is the key to taking someone from not certain to certain in your funnel, Mr. Prospect. Does that make sense? Yeah, no, that makes sense. Perfect. Now, the last thing that we need, where is the most money lost in any sort of marketing process, right? Say we get you, our average, we get you 35 qualified leads this month, right? And let's just say you close one of them, right? One of them actually is ready to go now, and you get your 10x ROI. You get a 10K commission, you spend $1,000 on ads, right? Let's say one of them ends up actually converting. When we go into month 2 and you do that again, you go into month 3 and you do that again, where is most of the money lost? Is it in the one person who converts or the 29 to 34 that don't? Well, it's in the ones that don't, right? But we already paid for them. And so the final thing, this is what really seals the deal on A+ marketing system, is automated, personalized follow-up, right? Because this means automated means you can put your time on the people now. Personalized means that the process, like the people we're following up with, will respond, and follow-up means that people that have money that we've already paid for, right, that will probably convert in the future, they don't go to a competitor, right? And so we need to be able to check all three. Any sort of marketing system, for it to be effective, needs to check all three. Do you have any questions on that? No. Cool. Now let me run you through how we approach it with our system, just sort of how this plugs in. And as long as everything makes sense, we'll get things rolling for you. Cool. So first thing we do is ads, and now you're going to explain ads. You're going to explain, unique mechanism 1, unique mechanism 2, unique mechanism 3, right? But what you're going to do at the end of your explanation, when you're walking through it, timelines, expectations, and the biggest thing that the ads do is that they let us get reach. We're able to get in front of people, right? And we do it in this way. We're not getting in front of the same people as everybody else. What do we just do? We just tick the box on one of the criteria that your prospect would have had. We go to the next part. Now, the next thing we do is landing page, right? So with landing pages, the biggest thing is the education. We match it to the type of person we're bringing in. If they're older, it's going to be more text oriented. If they're younger, it's going to be video oriented, so they consume it. And this is generally going to take them from problem to solution state by reading through this. And who are they going to go with at the end? Are they going to go with a random realtor or go with the person that educated them? The one that educated them. Who is that in this case? Well, it's me. Exactly. Right? Boom. Landing page. And now what does this do? This allows us to handle the conversion and the education or the branding. Right? Boom. We just tick criteria 2. And then the final thing, Mr. Prospect, is as we go through month after month, right? We have January, February, March, right? You close, let's just say you close 1 out of 30 each month, right? The very base that our average agent does, right? And so then that is a 10x ROI, 10x ROI, 10x ROI, right? Well, what happens is with the follow-up, you're going to have 29 other people here that weren't ready to go month 1, right? Month 2, you close those new leads, you get 1 out of 30. Month 3, what's cool is someone from month 1, they've been followed up with, they're ready to pull the trigger now. Boom. Now you went from 1 out of 30 to 2 out of 30, right? And that means you went from a 10x to a 20x. Do you see how that works? Yeah, I see how that compounds. Exactly. And so over time, that just gets more and more effective, and that's how we do our personalized follow-up using our AI agents. Do you have any questions on that? No, that makes sense. Cool. Boom, we ticked all the boxes. Now he asks, it's like, cool, let me ask you, do you feel like this gives you everything you need? This is the key part. You feel like this gives you everything you need so that you're able to get XYZ result? Yes, I do. Cool. Now, I just be completely brutally honest, because this is actually helpful for me, because we're always trying to improve, right? Do you feel like anything is missing, anything you'd need in a marketing system is missing, or we should have more of, or anything along those lines, or you feel like this ticks literally every single box and kind of ticks it perfectly for what you need? No, I can't think of anything else. Most of the time they can't, right? Because they don't even know their own criteria. You just gave them the criteria. Most people's brains are not going to be working overtime to look for alternative criteria. And if they have something top of mind, they'll have mentioned it in the discovery, right? And so what we did is when we asked them that, they actually processed it and they're like, no, actually nothing is missing. This covers literally everything. Great. And then boom, you go in, cool. Like, let's go through numbers and just make sure everything lines up. And as long as it does, then we can go and get you started. Cool. Right. So what you did is you ticked box 1, which is reach. You ticked box 2, which is conversion. You ticked box 3, which is the automated follow up. Right. But those boxes didn't exist in their mind before you explained it. Right. And so what's so effective here is every single time we can tick every single box of criteria they want. And the cool thing is when we lay it out, if they had pre-existing criteria in their head, it's generally going to fall into one of those 3 buckets. And so then when they're like, does the system tick all my boxes? Well, I wanted something that would be hands off. Yes, it's automated follow up and it does the follow up for me. Cool, it ticks that box. Great. They have what I need. Right? And it creates that certainty, creates that clarity that this is, going to solve their problem. That is the concept that we apply, and it's so effective because we take someone with intent, right, and we give them certainty on the call by laying out what boxes need to be ticked, what criteria is needed for an effective system, high level, and then when we show them our specific system, it ticks all of those boxes, right, and there's enough certainty at that point because they're like, well, this ticks all the boxes I was looking for, that makes sense, right, they buy into what those boxes are first because it makes sense, it's not BS, right, then they see that you fill all of them. There's no reason for them not to pull the trigger now. There's no reason for them to continue shopping around because you just filled every single box they're looking for. So that's how we approach it on our calls. Extremely effective. If you apply this properly, like you will see a 20-30% boost in your close rate unless you're already closing at a absurdly high level. But I hope you got a lot of value. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.